with some blueprints of the real Hindenburg. To match the original airship, the replicas will need aluminum frames, so Jamie's off to get wired.
We've come to a wire stock place, and they have just about every kind of gauge of steel wire that we need. I'm going to buy some.
The wire will have to be thin to keep the models lightweight, yet strong enough to prevent buckling. The last thing they want is a limp blimp.
I've picked a wire gauge that is, I think, just thick enough for us to weld, and otherwise the frame, when we're done with it, may only weigh maybe 10 or 15 pounds.
Back at Hindenburg headquarters, Adam and myth-veteran Jess Nelson are hard at work.
Behind me here, this fishbone is the guide backbone for all the concentric rings that make up the body of the Hindenburg, and then we will, once we have that laid out with all the rings on it, we will go in and weld all the long struts, and then we'll do it again. And then when we're done with that, we'll do it again.
Sure, it's a big task, Adam, but spare a thought for the guys who built the original. Work on the Hindenburg started in 1931 and took 5 years to complete. The result was a mind-boggling feat of engineering. The Hindenburg was longer than 3 737s, 15 stories high, and could store 7 million cubic feet of lifting gas. The Hindenburg's designers also included a smoking room, fireproof, of course. By following the original Hindenburg blueprints, the Mythbusters soon have their own mini Hindenburg taking shape.
Look at that! That is very, very cool.
It weighs maybe about 10 pounds of that. I'm going to get pissed if you drop that.
Adam balances the frame on his chin. Don't ask me why, he's just Adam. It goes over like a Led Zeppelin with Jamie. Ain't a whole lot allowed in the room. Okay, enough with the horseplay. We need another 2 Hindenburgs pronto.
You want 3 Zeppelins in a day? We give you 3 Zeppelins in a day.
The frames need cotton skins. Adam soon has that all sewn up. Everything's going smoothly until Jamie opts for a spot of last-minute welding. And suddenly the model is looking disturbingly like the real Hindenburg.
These things are always catching on fire. That is the textbook definition of irony, kids.
The last thing they have to do is apply the dough, and the models are complete. Now, the Mythbusters are ready to crack this case once and for all.
Next up on Discovery, the world's deadliest pinata.
Can you escape a crocodile by running in a zigzag? To find out, Carrie, Tori, and Grant have harnessed all their know-how and built a zigzag rig. Now they're off on a reptile recce.
We are now here in Florida at St. Augustine Alligator Farm, and they're crazy enough to let us try our buster rig on some of these alligators and crocodiles. What does it mean when they hiss?
When they hiss, they feel a little threatened because you're getting a little bit too close to them, so they're kind of unhappy with your presence right now.
They're unhappy. Sorry?
You make the prettiest noises.
St. Augustine is the only farm in the world to have all 23 species of crocodile. Director John Brugan has heard the zigzag myth many times.
The crocodile's going in a straight line, you're kind of going in a zigzag. I think you're going to meet a couple times in there. It doesn't sound so good to me, but it's worth trying.
They choose a good straight run and assemble the rig. Soon, Buster Two's got his fetching, quail-filled fishnets on. Now, It's croc time.
These are very dangerous animals, so it's important that you're listening to the keepers, listen to David and Kevin. They'll tell you where to be if something goes wrong. They're gonna be yelling at you. They don't mean any disrespect, but they're gonna tell you to get somewhere quickly.
Hope you were listening, Tori. You're going to help wrangle the first reptile.
I've been watching a lot of professional wrestling on television, so I've learned some wrestling moves, and I'm going to try them out on this crocodile.
The Cuban crocodile is one of the quickest and most aggressive crocodiles on the planet. A perfect candidate for the zigzag test. If they can catch one, that is.
You'll get the animal secured, hold the mouth shut, and then you'll actually tape the jaw shut so it's no longer able to bite us.
What?
You're going to tape the mouth shut.
That's what he thought you said.
Give Kevin that mouthful. Wow. Okay. He's going to submit in 2 seconds. Tap out. Tap out, sucker. So is that better than playing with robots?
Oh my gosh, this is my new favorite job. How do I sign up?
Okay, here we go. Can the Cuban croc catch those zigzagging quail legs? Tori's poised to pull the dummy along the track. Using the remote control, Grant twitches Buster's delicious legs. Our reptile doesn't seem tempted, although its potential speed is obvious when it suddenly rounds on its keeper. Whoa. They keep trying to tease the croc into a chase, but the beast just won't budge.
Senor.
So they wheel out a second Cuban.
Okay, this is the new one, the fresh crocodile.
Here we go. Jiggling. Tasty. Come on. Take a bite.
But no cigar. The reptiles just won't run.
A big part of the problem may very well be that it knows it's not a person. How can it tell?
Conditions are perfect. Crocs are the most active at this time of the year, and the humid, steamy weather means they shouldn't be sluggish.
No interest whatsoever.
I'm starting to feel extremely defeated. There's a run in my stockings, and there's no crocodile running.
You know what they say about children and animals
towel?
in the film industry.
You said it, Tori. Animal myths are notoriously difficult to bust. Remember skunk cleaning? Adam and Jamie set out to test a bunch of skunk smell home remedies. Only problem was, they couldn't get a skunk to kick up a stink.
Well, it doesn't work. Can we go now?
Back in Crocodile Alley, the test subjects are refusing to chase Buster's neat legs in a zigzag or any other configuration. Luckily, the Mythbusters have a plan B.
We're actually going to take a quail and put it on my robot here, and this is a battle-ready combat robot. So if, unfortunately, an animal gets a hold of it in its jaws, it is built for combat, so probably will stand up.
With its cargo of quail in place, Grant's robot sets out on its mission. Looking like the Mars rover, it parks near the edge of a pool, well within striking distance. Grant's poised to hit the accelerator at the first crocodilian quiver. But apparently, this croc doesn't feel like Meals on Wheels.
We're having a hard time getting this crocodile to come to the surface of the water, so I'm going to try to entice it with some quail. I'm just going to drop it right in front of his nose, or her nose.
Tori ventures close and throws the bird. Nothing. Not a ripple.
I don't think he's coming out the water.
Well, the trainers here say that they're naturally secretive animals, and what's more, they're not stupid.
Yeah, he seems pretty spooked by your robot.
No response to the rig, no response to the robot. You can't say the Mythbusters aren't trying.
You know, those crocodiles seem like they're slow on land, but shooting out of the water, they're lightning.
Well, actually, I've done a little bit more research, and it turns out in almost every crocodile or alligator attack, since they've been keeping records, the victim has been in or near the water.
Well then, what are the rules to avoid being chomped?
First, if there are any warning signs, don't go in the water. Second, if you fall into the water, get out as quickly as possible. And third, never ever dangle your legs or arms over the side of the boat.
I think we can handle these rules.
There's only one thing left. Plan C. That's C for crazy. Tori's gonna put his behind on the line and get a croc to chase him instead. Tori, Carrie, and Grant have been wrestling with the myth that crocodiles can't run in a zigzag. So far, they haven't been able to coax a croc into running at all. You know what they say about desperate times and desperate measures.
We've tried everything to get these crocodiles to chase the food, but apparently nothing's working. So we're going to try a different approach. We're going to try to see if we can get them to chase us out of aggression. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually suit up with some protective gear, get in there, try to agitate the crocodiles, and see if they'll chase me.
Tori's going out on a limb. Let's just hope all his are still there when it's over.
So let's say one of them does get a hold of my leg. What would you do to break that hold?
I will do everything I can to ease your pain as quickly as possible.
You have to stick.
And this is actually more for you. Yes. The quicker you lose consciousness, the better off it is for you. Yes.
Tori's legs will be well protected. Unfortunately, the heavy padding will also slow him down.
Hey, the safety protection caused me to fall down. Protective gear is hindering me from running away from the crocodile.
Nevertheless, he's ready for a face-to-face croc confrontation. The Johnston's crocodile is found in Australian waters. It's smaller than the Cuban croc, but fast and fiercely territorial.
So this is the first test, chasing Tori, the Johnston crocodile.
What do you think's going to happen?
I think you can catch him.
Can Tori snatch victory from the jaws of defeat? Was that an unfortunate turn of phrase? Once again, provoking a croc attack proves to be a lot harder than you'd think. But if he succeeds, Tori will have to remember to run in a zigzag. Suddenly, the crocodile lunges, but doesn't continue the chase beyond that initial strike. The experiment ends with Tori intact.
When he came out of the water, he was just standing there looking at me, hissing and like lunging. My heart was going, 1,000 miles a minute. I was just like freaking out.
And he's starting to draw some conclusions about this myth.
I don't think you're going to have to worry about it. I think you're more worried about getting away from that initial explosive attack. If you can get away from that, you're pretty much going to be okay.
Actually, Tori, you're spot on. In the wild, crocodiles don't chase prey on land. They're ambush predators, attacking from the water. Escape that initial lunge, and you're pretty much home free. That's crocodiles. But what about alligators? Brad wants to try one more experiment, swapping the crocs for their cousins.
Okay, David, so up to this point, we've been using crocodiles. They haven't been going for the food. But here you have some trained alligators.
We have 3 good candidates in here today. We have Fluffy, Skipper, and Bob. And with any luck, one of those will come at you at full speed.
Fluffy, Skipper, Bob. Gee, with names like that, it must be hard not to smile at a crocodile.
You should lay the food about maybe a foot in front of his head.
Oh, okay, that close.
Okay, that close.
Using his most commanding voice, Grant calls the animal.
Skipper! Skipper!
I said commanding voice.
Skipper! Skipper!
Skipper follows the bait, but he's not setting any land speed records. So then Carrie plays Gator Baker, trying to lure her living dinosaur in a zigzag.
Oh, yes, you're just freaking me out now, Smiley. Yay, yeah, this way. All right.
You're the most popular girl in the lagoon.
I don't know if she's more afraid of the alligator or the bird.
The alligator slowly changes direction to follow Carrie. But is that a zigzag as defined by the myth?
I did a zig, I did a zag. He could follow me, but only sort of a curvy motion, not really sharp turns, and it didn't make me get away from him any better or any faster.
Let's face it, this myth is looking more and more, if you'll pardon the expression, like a croc.
Man, we threw everything at this one, including ourselves. I don't know what more we could have done.
Yeah, I'm really frustrated. We didn't even get to try our croc zigzag rig. We were in the right place at the right time of year on a hot day with cranky crocodiles and their food of choice, and they still wouldn't chase.
I mean, we even strapped quails to your robot, and we couldn't get those crocodiles to chase it.
Well, doesn't that in itself prove something? Forget the zigzag. Crocodiles are just not going to chase you on land.
Yeah, they're ambush predators. If they miss you that first time, they're just
Okay,
going to wait
difficult.
until some easier prey comes along.
And so this whole zigzag theory is just ridiculous. I mean, you're never going to use it because they're never going to chase you.
It's ridiculous, and what's more, it's busted.
Busted. Totally busted.
For almost 70 years, it's been assumed that hydrogen was the cause of the Hindenburg disaster. But the incendiary paint theory, developed by a retired NASA scientist, lays the blame for the blaze on the metal paint that covered the airship skin. Adam and Jamie have built some blimps, ta-da, and are set to give that theory a serious thermal workout. They're off to their home away from home, the abandoned naval base.
Last time we were here, we fired an air cylinder through a wall.
Steering the regulator off the tank. Attempt number 2.
That wasn't bad, but now we're going to blow up some zeppelins.
As Tarantino might say, bring out the blimp. At 16 feet long, the Zeppelin is 1/50th scale. It's not been designed to get airborne, so it'll have to hang suspended.
There's something
I've
there.
got these figures from a train set. These are 1/50th scale. Check these guys out. That's how big an actual person would have been with the Hindenburg. This thing is massive. This fire must have been just the most unbelievable thing that anyone that day had ever seen.
And this says that the destruction of the Hindenburg was because of the skin and not because of the hydrogen.
The blimp skin matches the Hindenburg's exactly, right down to the dope formula painted on its surface.
The first test is just the blimp without any gas, no hydrogen, and we're just going to burn the skin and see what that does.
The room will be a strict no-go zone during the test. Adam and Jamie will watch a live feed of the action outside. To set fire to the blimp remotely, Jamie rigs a blowtorch on a stick.
This is a test number 1. Period. Correct skin. No gas. Ignite when you're ready.
Time to put a blowtorch to the belly of this 70-year-old myth.
That looks good. You're right on target. It's going. That was quick.
A thermal imaging camera will show the path of the fire as it rages through the blimp. The Hindenburg burned in 34 seconds. For the myth to be plausible, this Hindenburg has to be consumed in a similar time.
I'm seeing little thermite sparkers.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're already at more 1 minute 10 seconds.
So we could have burned 2 Hindenburgs by now, and we're only like not even a quarter of the way through this.
Suddenly, the fire accelerates.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Oh yeah.
That is so beautiful.
Sparks cascade as the aluminum and iron oxide on the skin create thermite. The thermal camera shows a massive orange as the fire spreads through the blimp.
Bang. 2 minutes 6 seconds.
A lot quicker than I thought it was going to go.
But still slow. The real Hindenburg could have burned almost 4 times over in the time it took for the model to burn. There's the unmistakable smell of charred myth in the air. But Adam still sees a spark of hope.
Critics of the skin theory say that there couldn't have possibly been a thermite reaction on the face of the Hindenburg because not only are the proportions of aluminum to iron oxide wrong, but they're suspended in separate layers of deuterium. The fact that we saw a thermite reaction in this test tells me that while that doesn't prove the myth is true, it tells me the critics aren't entirely right.
On to Hindenburg burn number 2. This Zeppelin will be filled with hydrogen. Now just pumping the blimp full of gas and lighting it won't work. Instead of a burn, they'll get a bang, just like Adam did back at the shop.
Everybody okay?
So the gas will have to be diffused.
We're going to feed it from the hydrogen tanks through this blue gas hose up the main strut and into a trough of water. And the trough of water is going to diffuse the hydrogen across the entire Hindenburg.
This is where the rubber meets the road, people. If this hydrogen Hindenburg burns faster than the first blimp, the paint theory enthusiasts will be deflated.
It is make or break for this myth on this test. Let's go.
Jamie sets fire to the blimp.
Call it. You're lit.
As the flames take hold, Jess starts feeding hydrogen into the Hindenburg. The gas ignites.
Whoa!
More hydrogen! More!
And the blimp is instantly filled with flame.
Wow. Look at that.
What's the time?
Boom. Wow. 59 seconds flat. That just feels exactly like what we see in Israel.
Very wrong here.
Compare Adam and Jamie's result with the newsreel footage. They're remarkably similar.
This is my favorite scale experiment we've ever done. Full stop.
The burn times tell the story.
The period skin plus the hydrogen burned twice as fast as the period skin without the hydrogen. Doesn't get much more definitive than that kind of result.
The metal compounds on the skin undoubtedly played a role in the Hindenburg tragedy. But to say the hydrogen had no effect, well, that's a lot of hot air.
If I was the narrator of a different kind of show rather than the host of this one, I might say something like this. Like any catastrophe of this magnitude, a number of elements contributed to the totality of the failure on that fateful day in 1937. Now that's writing.
No, Adam, that's gibberish.
Okay, well, at the outset of this, we said for this myth to be true, both burn times, with and without hydrogen, had to be the same, and they weren't. With hydrogen, this thing burned out twice as fast. It's busted.
Yeah, but, you know, the skin actually did have a fair amount to do with this. We saw that it does burn aggressively, and it was clearly a part of what was going on here. We even saw little bitty
Okay,
reactions.
something's going wrong.
Tells us that,
Very, very
like any
fucking
good
wrong.
myth, there is a grain of truth to the fact that the skin had something to do with thermite.
But in the end, it was the hydrogen plus the skin.
Yeah,
We're calling this one busted.
busted.
But hang on, what about that third blimp? The skin of this Hindenburg has been coated with pure
Okay,
thermite,
start again.
aluminum and iron oxide blended in a secret searing formula. It's the same over-the-top, completely unrealistic mega-dope mix Jamie tested back at the start.
Deuteronomy!
With the myth already busted, this test is simply Mythbuster theatrics. What you're about to see is what would have happened if the original Hindenburg, filled with hydrogen, was painted with rocket fuel.
There's 15 pounds of thermite on this blimp right now. It's a different sort of beast.
This thing is going to burn.
Thermite's like heavy-duty stuff, and there's an awful lot of it here, so all bets are off.
Test number 3. Thermite megadope plus hydrogen.
It's a safety red alert.
You're lit! Whoa! Dude!
Unsurprisingly, the flammable thermite fires up in no time. And after a dash of hydrogen, we're cooking with gas.
Wow!
Adam's Hindenburg is history.
We gotta call that! Boom!
30 seconds flat.
Here comes the video. Right. This video. Right.
That is exactly the kind of burn that the proponents of the skin theory believe happened. Except that the skin of the Hindenburg was not coated on pounds of thermite.
Yeah, that thing wouldn't have gotten off the ground with that much thermite per square foot. There's no way. a thermite in the afternoon.
On this infectious episode of Mythbusters, we blow the lid on those sensational viral videos. Are you ready?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
Can you believe everything you see on the net? Like a sawdust animal.
Say hello to my little friend.
Or a water-powered rocket car. Or even fainting goats.
We're gonna drop them with this one.
Who are the Mythbusters? Adam Savage. And Jamie Heineman.
That's perfect. Hold it there.
Between them, more than 30 years of special effects experience. Okay. Freedom! Joining them, Red Imahara, Tori Belleci,
Put your back into it.
and Carrie Barth.
Explosive electricity. Woo!
They don't just tell the myths, they put them to the test.
What are you doing? We've got work to do.
I'm checking out some viral videos for our viral special.
Viral videos. What's that?
There's this invention out there called the internet, and the latest, biggest craze on it is people trading videos which go what is called viral, i.e. they have spread throughout the population like a virus because they're so shocking, so amazing, or so hilarious.
Okay, well, what's in it for us?
Well, are they real, or are they just camera editing or computer trickery?
Okay, that's something we can sink our teeth into.
That's what I thought.
I think I've got one.
Yeah.
Does 10 million hits count as a viral video?
I'll say. What do you got?
Well, it looks like we've got a bunch of fire hoses pointed down and they're lifting a car off the ground.
That is freaking perfect for us.
It looks pretty convincing. What do you think?
No idea. Play it again.
You know, if this is real and we can actually pull this off, it's going to be awesome.
I totally agree, but man, it could also be deadly.
It could also be a con job. That car might just be a plastic shell. But the only way to find out is to try it ourselves. That means building a platform, sweet-talking some Farnham, and buying a full-weight, has-been hatchback.
This is what it is to be a Mythbuster. You see this car behind me and you think, it's some classified ad piece of crap. I see a flying water jet car.
Adam's itching to squirt this wreck sky high, but Jamie wants to check under the hood.
This car weighs, according to the sticker, 3,175 pounds. Now, that means that each of those hoses has to put out about 320 pounds of thrust. Personally, I don't think so.
Okay.
Jamie decides to start small scale, and he's not afraid to delegate.
Okay, well, this is our car. I need you to make me a 1/6 scale version of this on CNC. Can you do that?
But it is
Yes, we can do that, definitely.
Okay, off you go.
Okay.
The CNC mill is a computer-controlled milling machine that will take a laser-scanned image of a real car and generate a tool path for its cutting tool that will carve out a miniature version of the car at any scale we like out of something like a fine-grained particle board.
Meantime, Adam knocks up a miniature 10-nozzle frame for the tiny car to sit on. The frame and the car fit together just like a piston in a cylinder.
Ah, perfect.
This might be a small-scale test, but still, why mess up your own backyard? Jamie's picked out a fire training facility about 30 miles east of the city in Pleasanton.
Given that we're going to be harnessing hundreds or maybe even thousands of horsepower of diesel pump energy and putting that through hoses, this is kind of a dangerous situation that we don't really want to just dive into without preparation. And so we're going to build a scale model, see how well we can control it, see if we can learn anything about it before we start dealing with the big boys.
Okay, this bewildering mix of half-hose, double-pipe, triple-glued, multi-valves sure don't look small-scale. Thankfully, Adam's here to explain it.
Right, kiddies, close your eyes and open your brains. Well, actually, keep your eyes open because this television is going to take you on a little journey. Picture yourself as a droplet of water with a bunch of your friends heading down this 2.5-inch fire hose. Everything's going great. Then all of a sudden, you hit this transition. What is this? Oh, it's going to have to do with the Mythbusters. So, you and your friends are divided into two groups. This group, the left group. Let's go see what they're going on. The left group comes down the manifold and further gets divided into 5 other groups, each one going down a 25-foot garden hose. Those garden hoses lead to the platform where all 10 groups of water droplets, all of you and your friends are rejoined coming out of these nozzles. And if
I have
everything goes
temperature
well,
and
you'll see this.
humidity, but it's saying minus 999.00. So I don't think it's working
We're not
quite
exactly
yet.
sure that's going to happen.
But
That's likely to
close
be problems.
And that's not just a prediction, it's a promise. Retired Fire Chief Bob Calloway runs at the hose and taps into the nearest hydrant. He's pumped, and so are the boys.
We are all plugged up and ready to go. And what I'm hoping to discover here is information about the flight characteristics of the full-size car when we power it up.
So Bob, we're all set and ready to go.
Okay, Dan.
And you got your valve there, huh? So
Right.
what's your signal for more or less?
More is this way.
Less is like
Less
that.
is this way.
Just like a crane, okay.
Right.
Well, I'm going to stand kind of safely off to the side watching the whole thing, and I'll give you your signal more or less, and we'll just kind of ramp on up.
Okay.
Remember the high-pitched squealing means shut everything down. It sounds like, like that.
Will do.
Jamie declines a waterproof suit. That's because Adams volunteered to handle the hoses. Bob turns the tap, and there's no turning back. And before you can say, pump my ride, this little red car becomes a little red helicopter.
Sounds good. Yeah.
And in scale, that's about right. That's like, what, 20 feet off the ground?
It's totally, these things are pointed every which way, but because they're mostly down, it's really stable.
It seems precise water direction isn't crucial to keeping the car aloft. And that's what they came here to find out. Bolstered by an unshakable belief in his own brilliance, Adam decides to kick it up a notch.
That's maximum.
You know what I'm thinking?
What?
Is that when we go up to full size, see how just a little bit of guidance keeps
Yeah.
it dampened? So all we need are like 4 ropes.
Well, notice there's a guy on every hose in the video. And it doesn't take much. I mean, actually, I can guide it from right like here. Dude, this couldn't be better.
Well, actually, it could.
Whoa! Oh!
Direct hit to the mustache.
I was doing just fine staying dry.
It could not have gone better. We got liftoff, we got stability. It seems like as long as these things are pointed within 15 degrees of
Well, I'm not doing
down,
wrong,
you get
because I'm not
stability.
getting a temperature
This
reading.
seems really, really possible.
So what do you guys
Get
think? Can we
minus
pull this off with a
999.
full-size car? Yeah!
just a hoax because this footage is so weird.
Well, there's only one way to find out.
All right, let's go see for ourselves.
So Carrie and Tori hit the road to confirm or confound this possible fraud once and for all.
All right, we're at Renegade Ranch to see these fainting goats. I mean, I haven't seen one fall over yet. So I'm just kind of excited to get in there and try to freak them out and see if we can get them to fall over. I know that seems kind of cruel, but, science can be cruel sometimes.
I have seen this internet clip so many times because it cracks me up. Do goats actually faint?
Well, they do and they don't. They appear to faint, but they don't actually lose consciousness when they fall on the ground. It's a muscle condition called myotonia that affects their leg muscles, so when they get scared, sometimes even excited, their muscles will tighten up in their legs, and sometimes they'll actually fall over.
Yeah, but this still smells like a rural myth, meant to make us city folk look dumber than a fence post. But Tori's halfway convinced.
Apparently, shepherds breed these goats just for that gene, so that way they can put one of these goats into their flock of sheep, so when a real predator shows up, all the sheep take off and the goat is stuck there, paralyzed, so the predator can eat it and not the sheep. Now, if that's not taking one for the team, I don't know what is. The sad thing is, it's not even his team. I mean, it's the sheep,
Sounds like someone's going soft on these cute little guys. It won't last.
All right, Tori, your first step. What do you want to do?
I think for my first one, I'm just going to see if I can get one of these goats to faint with no tricks. I mean, I haven't seen one of these fainted yet. Ooh. Oh,
It's a shameful start. The first one to faint is one of us. So while Tori regroups, Carrie gives it a whirl.
Okay, I figured something that would be very freaky with a lot of flash would be an umbrella. So I'm going to try to crouch down, wait till they're calm, and pow.
That kapow sure worked on the virus video, so it should work now.